Okay, so today we're going to replace the starter solenoid on a 1995 Yamaha Waverunner 3. The electrical box is this long black box on the left-hand side of the engine compartment and just above the gas tank. So what we need to do is it has two 12mm bolts on it, and you take those two 12mm bolts, one off of each end, and then we can open up the box and get to the solenoid. Now what you want to do is just be careful you don't drop the bolts down inside, because then you need to get a magnet to get them back. So here they are. There's one. There's the other one. Put them aside for safekeeping, and then you can get your electrical box out, and the electrical box has 14 Phillips head screws holding it all together to keep it watertight. Okay, so here's what the back side of that electrical box looks like. Now, like I said, I think we've got 14 screws here to take out, so make sure you have a plastic cup to put them in, otherwise you're going to lose the screws and have them all over the place. So here we go. We'll take the middle ones out first. Okay, they're pretty long screws. Alright, now that I can feel how they're in there, I'm going to get a screw gun. Now for these screws, you're going to need a number 3 Phillips head bit. Okay, so there it is. Now we can start to take this cover off. Careful. As you do it, there is a gasket in there. And there we go, and there's our starter solenoid. Right here. Now the other thing you want to do is make sure you disconnect the battery. That should be the first thing you do. So you can see on this, on your starter solenoid, hopefully you can see this, you just kind of have to get it out of here a little bit, out of the box. The lid stays on there, and a little bit because you've got wires going through still. And so we have two 10mm nuts, and we have two 5.5mm nuts on here, and there's a little rubber holder around the starter solenoid. So what you want to do is make sure you have your battery disconnected and start taking the wires off. Keep notice of where the wires are, so that way you can get everything back in the right place. So keep the orientation the same if you can as you're taking it apart, so that way it goes back, your new one will go back together the same way. Okay, and there we have it. So there is your starter solenoid. Now what we have to do is take it out of this rubber boot that it's in and just push it out from the bottom. Then you have the boot. There's your old solenoid, and get rid of that. And I have my new one here. Now it did come with wires attached to it. I'm not going to use them since we already have the wires that go to of the electronics here. So I'm just going to use the existing wires. They look in good shape. Now I'm going to wait to get my wires on before I put the rubber boot over it. Put our boot on. Notice that the boot has, at the top, it's got a spot for those wires to go through. Those little wires. We'll put our big ones on. So there we have it. We're all set. Now all you have to do is just put everything back the way you got it out of your plastic box here. Don't forget your gasket is on there, and you have these rubber grommets also for your wires on going, your battery wires going to the starter solenoid. This is a little tricky getting it back together. I remember from last time I did this. Just because you get it almost together and then everything kind of falls apart on you. But we'll do what we can here. You just kind of have to monkey with it a little bit between the gasket and the wire, the grommets for the wires. Alright, let's see, the gasket's not looking good here. That looks a lot better. When you put your screws in, just put a couple in on the ends. You know, I like to do the corners just to kind of get that gasket seated so that you know you're in the holes. Just start them finger tight so that they don't fall out. Maybe one in the middle. I wouldn't screw everything down tight yet. You want to kind of make sure it goes down evenly. So just kind of get them all loosely in, and then we can screw it down. Okay, so before I attach the box to the wall again permanently, I reconnected the battery. I'm just going to test it, make sure our starter solenoid works, and then we can attach it again. There it goes. It's working fine. So we're good to go. Don't forget the washers that go with it. Make sure everything. It's going to be really easy to drop things in here, so just be careful. Especially because the back one you really can't see. Or the front one, I should say. Keep saying back. I think we got it started. Yep, there we go. Don't go too tight with this. Alright, make sure your cap is on there. We should be good to go. Okay, so that's how you replace your starter solenoid on your mid-90s Yamaha Waverunner. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next video.